appeal judgment that the court issued. We are waiting now to get certified copies of the proceedings of the court, and we are also waiting to get a copy of the decree. These are primary documents that you must take to the Court of Appeal when you are lodging an appeal. And then, as you can see, we have about more than 10,000 pages of documents that have to be all paginated, and they have to be 10,000 pages. Because there were 8 cases that were all had together. Each of those cases had at least 4 or 5 parties on each of them, and everybody was filing documents. So there's a lot of documentation to process. The Court of Appeal requires that you form each of your documents into bundles of 500 pages each, and all of them must be paginated and run from number 1 continuously to the last page. And then on every page, you are required to indicate the 10th line per document. Because when you're presenting your case, it becomes easier to make reference to the document or to particular sentences by using the 10th, what they call the 10th line. So that is the process we are now going through. We have to mark the 10th line on the 10,000 pages of documentation that we shall have to the court. So your notice of appeal with the High Court Registrar, and they must receive it officially and then take it to the Court of Appeal. So that is the official receipt has been done. So now it's being transmitted to the registrar of the Court of Appeal. We are hoping maybe in another day or so that we shall go through the process of marking the 10th line, the 10,000 pages. After that is done, it is now just a question of compiling the bundles and submitting them to it. Okay, now. And there are very many findings, even before you get to the actual orders that they made. There are so many different findings and findings of fact, and all of them, especially when the erroneous, have to be challenged. So we are going to have quite a long list of issues that we shall be asking the Court of Appeal to look at. But some of them are glaring. For instance, the court kept insisting throughout the judgment that the persons who are promoting the popular initiative was President Uhuru Kenyatta and the steering committee for implementation of the BBI report. But for instance, as we are going through the documentation now for appeal, we have a letter here that was written by Chebukati himself when he was transmitting the bill to the speakers of the county assembly. And in his letter, Chebukati was very clear that he has received a draft bill to amend the constitution by popular initiative under Article 257. And he said that the same initiative is promoted by Honorable Dennis Olu and Juliet Mohammed. So that a very big part of the judgment that the High Court issued already collapses just on evidence. Because the evidence is saying something entirely different. What you do not know is whether the court was deliberately misrepresenting the facts. Because all this evidence was before the court, and the court just ignored it and came to its own conclusion of non-existent facts.
And there's the question.
The thing is that the steering committee itself, apart from the fact that there is no record of it ever promoting a popular initiative, the steering committee died on 30th of June 2020 because the Gazette Notice number 264, which had set it up, gave it a mandate that ran from 10th of January 2020 to 30th of June 2020. So by the time we are coming to talk about commencement of a popular initiative, the steering committee was long dead. So it is not even legally possible that it would have been undertaking anything. And we were part of that committee. We had already been disbanded, and we had gone home. One gets a feeling of a decision, people who have already decided what they want, and they are working their way backwards to justify the finding that they have already reached. Because if they were starting from the facts, then they would not get there. Because the facts are like this, as you say, would tell them that you cannot make that finding. But if you have already made the finding and you're working your way back, so then you can make such mistakes.
Okay, now
You have made those decisions, then the whole thing must come.
in your representation, are you representing also Junet Mohammed and Dennis Wawero, or only Raila? Or who are you representing in this matter?
The appeal is lodged by Honorable Raila Odinga and by what is called the BBI National Secretariat, which is the voluntary organization that was formed by Dennis Wawero and Junet Mohammed for this purpose.
When you talk about the BBI Secretariat, the court also pronounced itself on that.
So litigation, the Constitution opened up the issue of litigation to the point of saying even what is considered to be an unregistered organization has local standard in court. So it was an unfortunate statement the court was making, because the Constitution has been very clear that you cannot defeat litigation on the basis of challenging the legal foundation on which an organization has been formed. So I do not think that is something that justifies litigation.
Now,
it is of course, I think necessary that there will be a revision of timelines, because the times that are being taken while this is happening have to be factored in. We possibly are going to go through yet another month or two of this litigation. And when they set up new timelines, they are going to have to factor in the fact that we spend that time in court.
so we will not be running late. We will not be running late in constitutional timelines.
I think the constitutional timelines would be taken as having been frozen by the court. So they would have to start running from the time of go-ahead is given. But it cannot be said that at where we are now, that time is still running as such. This will have to be factored in.
But also, if you say that the time will